I have always been a woman who arranges things for the pleasure and the profit it derives. I have always been a woman who arranges things like furniture and daffodils and lives. Hi everybody, it's March 10th, 2013. And Ally Waldman here for Sunday with Ally, and I'm singing about being a woman who arranges things because I've been thrown a bit of a curveball this week, folks, as I think you can tell. The chemotherapy that I'm on has started to have some side effects, and I'm losing my hair. And I don't think I'm going to have much left in another week or so. So it's, I want to be real honest with you guys because I always try to tell you the truth. And there are aspects to being a cancer patient that clearly are, not good. Side effects stink. But I never, ever anticipated that losing my hair would be such a big deal. But you know what? It really, really is. It's not fun. And I am not an attractive bald woman. So I'm hanging on for dear life, hoping that I can keep as much intact for at least another week or so maybe. But by next week, I might be sitting here wearing a baseball cap or a floppy hat or something else, a baseball, some kind of a cap. I do have a wig, but I hate it, and it's not a really attractive wig. I wish I was the kind of woman that could wear a wig and wear it well, but I just don't seem to be that kind of a girl. So Barbra is. Barbra can wear wigs like crazy, and she looks fantastic in them. I mean, maybe if I had a little Henrietta Robbins wig, I don't need a big Daisy Gamble wig, but just something that would look nice. So, listen, I know some of you out there are very, very good with hair. So if you have any suggestions for me, any suggestions looking at the shape of my face and, what I, can do, and any suggestions as to where I should go to do it, email me, write me, let me know. But enough about me, because after all, this is the Barbra Streisand Videocast. Let's talk about Barbra, okay? Because hell or high water, unless I'm laying in a bed and can't talk, I'm going to be here every Sunday. So let's start with this week. Now the big news this week, and it's kind of news that's kind of hard for us to understand because it's kind of trade oriented. Barbra signed with a new talent agency called UTA. Now what that means is they are going to create deals for her on the film side. They're going to be the ones making sure that the contracts are done for Gypsy, Skinny and Cat, and any future projects she's working on. They are representing her as an actress, a producer, and a director. They are also representing Barwood Films. Now, as we know, Jason has been sort of overseeing Barwood Films, so I think that could be a sign that Barwood Films is going to get more active again. So, all in all, how are we to interpret what this means? Well, this is how I interpret it, okay? This means that Barbra is going to be very, very busy. You don't sign with a new agency with the idea of retiring or only doing, one film over the next 5 or 6 years. This is to, obviously this agency came to her and pitched her on what they could do for her, how they could set her up in the future. And this obviously comes right on the heels of her Oscar appearance, and they know she's hot. And so there's a lot that's going into this that's behind the scenes kind of stuff, sort of inside Hollywood stuff. But it's a very good sign. It's a very, very good sign. It also, they mentioned Marty Ehrlichman in the piece. Marty still obviously is Barbra's personal manager. But Marty represents Barbra more in concerts and music and appearances than he really does on the film side. He's never been really big on the film side. So he'll certainly have some say-so in all of this, but UTA is there to create the packages and to put it all together and to get Barbra the best deals and to make sure that her deals get financed and get out there. By the way, somebody sent me, Al Courier, good friend of our site, of Barbra File. Al sent me an email. There was a strange item on the IMDb site about Skinny and Cat, saying that there was an open casting call in Las Vegas for Skinny and Cat. And he asked me, Allison, what is this? What is this all about? And I told him, I wrote him back, I said, this is nonsense. Skinny and Cat is not about to start shooting. They could not have a casting call. Certainly, they have no studio. They have no backing. They don't have a distributor. They don't know where the film is going to be made. Barbra's not going to go out there and start writing checks to pay for Skinny and Cat without a studio financing the project. So I don't know what the heck that was, if it was just somebody being creative and or being a troublemaker and just trying to stir the pot a little bit. Who knows? Anyway, Barbra was out this week. You know, she does not rest. She was out, I think it was March 5th. There was an event at the UCLA Institute of the Environment and Sustainability. They did a salute to Al Gore, former vice president, who's obviously a big, believer in global warming and the environment. Anyway, they did a salute to him. Barbra was there, along with Norman Lear and a bunch of other people. But the best part was she took a bunch of photographs with J.J. Abrams. Now, J.J. Abrams, I'm sure you guys know, did the last Star Trek movie, and he's doing the upcoming Star Trek movie that's coming out, I think, in May. And he's also just signed to do the next Star Wars movie. And he's very, very big, very popular, very hot. And they took some really cute pictures together. And of course, I put one of the pictures up on Facebook and speculated, is he trying to get Barbra to sing in Star Wars or Star Trek? Here, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest star of the universe, Barbra Streisand. Probably they were just getting to know each other. But still, cute, nice to see that. Now, speaking of interesting things, this past week, Richard J. Alexander, who obviously worked with Barbra on the Brooklyn concert tour, and definitely works with Barbra on any kind of live performances or concert appearances. Apparently he was in New York meeting with Marty to discuss the upcoming salute to Barbra from the Lincoln Center Society, the Film Society of Lincoln Center, where she's getting the 40th annual Chaplin Award. And RJ did Facebook a little note saying that he spent the day looking at film clips of Barbra Streisand. So I think there's definitely going to be a film trip retrospective. I believe there's going to be some performances. I don't know whether Barbara's going to sing or not, but Richard J. it sounded like he might be organizing some people singing a salute to Barbra. And if you go to the site for the Lincoln Center, the Film Society of Lincoln Center, it does say the tickets will be on sale March 26th. And there are like $200 tickets for just the tribute. To go to the dinner and the tribute is like $2,000. So anybody who has the money, has the wherewithal, lives close to New York, wants to try to get in, there are some reasonable, I won't say cheap, but reasonable tickets if you really want to be there. So that would be nice. I'm sure Robin Lippman is, well actually I know Robin, I saw it, like I told you, I saw her just a week ago. Robin already has her plane ticket. She doesn't have a ticket for the event, but she does have a plane ticket, so I'm sure Robin is going to find her way in. Now, speaking of fans, I had the opportunity to meet two new fans, or two new friends this week who are longtime Barbra fans, who live right here in South Florida, Glenn and Diane Shapiro. And we had a very nice coffee. We had coffee together at Starbucks, and it was great. You know, meeting them. They have wonderful stories of, you know, their fandom and collecting all the Barbra albums. You know, Glenn told me about his, you know, for years how he searched to find the Nuts LP, and how he'd like go through the yellow pages for every record shop and call them up to try to find this LP for years. And irony of ironies, after he'd collected every one of the vinyl, a few years ago he decided, what am I schlepping all this vinyl with me? And he got rid of all of it and just has everything now on CD and digital. But some of us can't get rid of our vinyl. I certainly can't get rid of mine. What can I say? You know? So anyway, it was very nice meeting Glenn and Diane. Shout out to them. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention, I've heard from a lot of my friends overseas in England, and Guilt Trip opened on Friday. Lynn Pounder had a wonderful review about it on her site, All About Barbra, and other fans have said that they loved the movie. They don't understand why the movie didn't do better and have a bigger box office results, because everybody's who's gone to see it thinks the film is great. Now, of course, the British critics were nasty. Some of them were. Some were nice, but there were some that were just, you know, they called the movie boring. They said it was, you know, painful having to watch Barbra Streisand. Clearly, these people go into this movie with an agenda. You know, they don't even like try to pretend, you know, to be objective. I have no use for those kind of people. None whatsoever. Now, I understand that Germany is next, and my friend Mauro in Italy is dying to know when it's going to open there. I'm still working on it, Mauro, but if it's you know, England, Germany, I cannot believe that, and I think France is coming in May. I can't believe that France and Italy are very far away. So maybe Paramount territorial regional distribution is, you know, just going through the European theater, you know, dropping the movie in different spots. So hang on, it's coming your way. Barbra did a very cute interview. I don't know if I talked about this last week. She did a cute interview with The Independent, and she talked about Sammy. Yeah, I did talk a little bit about this last week, but I love the line where she said, my dog is like my daughter, and she talks to me. You know what? I have, you know what? My husband and I were never lucky enough to have children, but we've had a couple of dogs. And our first dog was a Scottish Terrier named Waverly, who we adored. I mean, she was the best dog in the world. And we had her for 14 years, and she was like our child. I mean, we moved all over the place, New Jersey, Orlando, South Florida, back to New Jersey again. And Waverly went everywhere with us. And she was a champ. She was just a champ. And she was the best dog. And when she passed away 2 years ago, we were heartbroken. We really, really were. Because I right away felt like I missed having that presence in my life. I wanted a dog. I wanted something to love. And I think Barbra feels the same way, because she's always had a dog ever since Sadie, which she got in from the cast of Funny Girl. She's always had a dog in her life. So when Waverly passed away, we went to, you know, we started looking around slowly. My husband was very reluctant. He didn't think that anybody could ever replace Waverly. But we looked around, and we went to this no-kill shelter in Boca, and we found this little Bichon Frise. And she was so, you know, cute and so desperate. She was jumping up on my husband, jumping. She just wanted him so badly. And we took her out and we played with her, and they said her name was Linda. She did not look like a Linda to us. But she was like insistent. She was like talking to me like, I will not let you leave here without me. Take me with you. So we did. We did. And we named her Bailey. And you've seen her on my video every now and then. And the reason I named her Bailey is because, like the movie It's a Wonderful Life, I promised her that I was going to give her a wonderful life. And so far, so good. So, so when Barbara talks about talking to her dog and her dog is like her daughter, it sounds a little crazy, folks, to people who don't have and love pets, but it made all the sense in the world to me. You know, probably to you too, a bunch of you. So, another Barbara little item this week, Ann Hampton Callaway is doing this tour of the Streisand songbook, and she performed with the Boston Pops. And apparently it did very, very well, got very good notices. And I heard from somebody that Anne plans to turn the Streisand songbook into a CD, which would be great. I'm sure we'll all go out and buy it, right? Of course we will. So, excuse me, folks. So that's basically it for the news. The news is, you know, things are moving along. I'm not gonna kvetch at you about Gypsy. Just know that I did find out that it's on. I mean, I think the announcement is going to come closer to Lincoln Center, but I think it's definitely you know, coming. It looks like they're probably going to film it in the summer. It probably won't come out to 2014, but please, folks, stop worrying. It's going to happen. Okay? It's the next thing on the docket for Barbara. I'm not sure whether I believe any of the stories about whether she's touring or not. We'll wait and see. In the meanwhile, let's do a little Barbara memorabilia, okay? So, let me back it up here. Let's start with some music. Now, they used to do these specialty albums on Columbia Records. I think they were called Columbia Special Products. And actually, this one was called Collector's Album Limited Edition, and it was The Music of Spring. How's that for a cover? Wouldn't you buy that album based on that cover? It's ridiculous, a terrible cover. Anyway, this Music of Spring includes, actually this is Volume 2 of The Music of Spring, but it includes our own Barbara, right there, her My Name is Barbara picture. And let's see, what do they have Barbara singing? They have Barbara singing, Happy Days Are Here Again? That's the best they could do for a spring song? Jeez, I would have put the entire It's Spring Again from Call Me Barbara on there, right? And birds on the wing again, start to singing again. Anyway, so that's their special products. Now, here's something that I think I've shown you in the past, but I got a bunch of new viewers, so you may not have seen it. When People was released in England, it didn't come out on Columbia Records for some reason. It came out on a label called Hallmark, or Pickwick, which I guess was a division of Columbia Records. But they did a completely different cover. I mean, isn't that groovy? Well, groovy. Isn't that cool? Of course, the exact same album. But I remember when I found this in a record store, good old days of the record stores, I was like, oh, what the heck is that? I've got to get it. I've got to get it. Well, I got it. And if you can ever find it, it's a good collectible to have. Now, speaking of good collectibles, there were some, you know, the days of the great Barbara magazines are gone, unfortunately. But the original great Barbara magazine was, of course, Barbara Quarterly. Now, these come up a lot of times on eBay. And these are great, great magazines. I mean, they were just so beautifully done. And if you're a fan of Barbara, these are like going to school. These issues, they did 10 of them all together, just hold up so well. The color holds up really well. The articles, the information, the funny little things that they did. I mean, it is just fantastic. So if you don't have these, or if you think you don't need these, you do. So go out and get your Barbara Quarterlies, okay? Now, the other magazine that came out a few years later that was very much like Barbara Quarterly, maybe a little more of a snarky attitude, because Tom Gallion, who created them, had a little bit of a snarky attitude, was Just Like Butter. This was the Barbara magazine for the 1990s. And these were also really beautifully done, beautifully produced. Tom did a great job with them. And I know occasionally Tom appears on eBay to sell these. If you have not bought Just Like Butter, do yourself a favor. Do it. You'll like it. So, now I have one other thing to share with you. And here's a rarity. A few years ago, to benefit the Starbright Foundation, they put out a book called Once Upon a Fairy Tale. And what it included were 21 award-winning illustrators bringing 4 classic fairy tales to life. And what they did is they had the stars reading it. So the Frog Prince was read by Minnie Driver, Steven Spielberg, Barbra Streisand, Martha Stewart, and Hugh Grant. And if you open up the book, you'll see that, you know, the story is the story. You know, it's illustrated. But the neat part is there is a CD in the back. And the CD is all those voices reading the story. So, if you would like Barbara to read to you, this is the way to do it. It's called Once Upon a Fairy Tale. I have no idea if this is being sold on Amazon anymore, but it was for a good cause when it came out. And, you know, pretty cool. So, that's an unusual collectible. Now, I'm going to wrap it up, folks, because it's 21:49. I know some people were so nice to me. They actually said that they wish my broadcasts were longer. But you know what? It's taking longer and longer for YouTube to upload these things. But before I go, I want to remind you all that clearly I could still use your help. If I can find it with my Nothing's Impossible project. There it is. If you would be interested in making a donation, I still have Barbara cards that are available. I still have like another 20 sets or so. If anybody wants to buy that, certainly any donation will do. And please, I was deadly serious. If anybody has any ideas about what to do about this head, please share it with me. I know some of you guys are much, much better with hair and all that stuff than I am. And frankly, I just don't have a Frederick Glasser in my life or a John Peters to design a wig. And I really, I'm hanging on by shreds here. It's terrible, guys. I mean, you don't know what it's like when you wake up in the morning and you can't even put a brush through your hair because it all comes out, all your hair comes out in the brush. And it's all over the place. It's all over the sink and the bathtub. I'm like, freaking out here. I'm really trying not to show it, not to get too, verklempt about it. But it's horrible. I mean, why, I guess somebody's going to ask me, why did this happen now? Because the fact of the matter is I've been taking the same chemotherapy for over a year. Now, the only thing I can think of that is in December, I started going to somewhere new to have my chemo administered. And maybe they mix it differently, maybe they formulate it slightly differently, but I got chemo from them in December and January, and now here we are, March 10th, and the hair is going. So I'm actually set to go for a third round of chemo this Thursday. I can't imagine what could be worse. Well, no, I can imagine what would be worse. Bad side effects. But I don't think I'm going to have any of those side effects. I think I'm just going to lose the rest of my hair. So if anybody has some good ideas for me, please share them. And until next week, this is Ally Waldman. I hope to come back to you next week with some more exciting Barbara news and some more fun stuff to talk about, not just rotten hair. And until then, I'll see ya. I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.